It's my great pleasure to tell you a little bit today about the Next Mile Project, Boston's largest nonprofit incubator, and really we think one of the very first in the country to explore how we can use a community, a collaborative of nonprofits, to create better interlinkings, better knowledge transfer, and really define and share the stories that inspire all of us to do social justice work. So welcome and thank you all for joining us today. Next Mile Project came out of a long and evolving process of trying to think about how we could take the very best of the private sector and apply it to the growth of nonprofit and social change organizations. At the very beginning, this idea came from direct interaction between nonprofits that would come to law firms or strategic consulting firms and seek one-on-one assistance, trying to figure out how to grow and scale their programs. We did this ourselves within a law firm environment where nonprofits would come to us for help first with legal formation, but those relationships would quickly turn into board and strategic memberships where we would advise them on everything from how to form an organization to how to deliver programmatic impact to finding resources within the Boston community today. We realized that one of the most fundamental problems that early stage nonprofits face is not having a place to call home, a place where they could both organize their administrative work, but also to find like-minded folks who are similarly committed to social justice. We started by bringing in a few nonprofits at a time into our law firm and saying, here's some space, let's start there. Let's figure out ways for you to align your needs around having a place to come and collaborate, to come and have meetings and conferences with easy access and availability of professionals who would be there within our space on a regular basis. This idea quickly transformed and grew to the point where we had 20 organizations working out of our law firm, which our lawyers loved and our administrators loved, but at some point simply became more than was reasonable. At that point, we spun it off into the space that you see today at Haymarket, a space of about 6,000 square feet, where we host nearly 40 alumni members and current members of the Next Mile Project in their work, continuing to deliver programs as they grow and scale their organizations. So how does it all work? The first step is the thesis that having regular and ongoing interaction between community members, between nonprofit organizations, and the professionals that we bring add value in both immediate and expected ways as well as long-term relationships that we can't always plan for. We have a common co-working space that leads to a hoteling environment where nonprofits become members and use the space as they need, either on a daily basis to come and work on all of their administrative tasks, or simply as a convening space where maybe they will ask boards or other advisors to come and meet with their executive teams. We provide a fully functional office space that has everything you'd expect, computers and printers and Wi-Fi, office supplies and everything else. But within that space, we also add layers of value. From that beginning of a philanthropically funded space where people can convene, we first start beginning to add programs where we will curate different kinds of talks or educational programs. We'll bring in speakers to provide sort of both one-on-one and lecture type environments where people can present on issues of the day. These issues will range from those that focus specifically on nonprofit administration, things like payroll and benefits, on how to develop internal working processes, on the legal requirements for formation as well as for your board members. We'll also do a lot of work around trying to get conversations to develop out of that process. So for example, we've brought in strategic consultants who've spoken on everything from design thinking to ways to structure social impact in very rural settings. We'll use those conversations as a jumping off point to then have small groups who convene to discuss those issues at length. For example, in our last few years, we've had organizations that were working on delivering healthcare in very, very rural last mile areas in countries ranging from Liberia to Sierra Leone to other parts of Africa. And we found that sparking conversations around a single issue, maybe things like how to make educational materials around medicine particularly relevant to a single population, will then create discussions and lessons that lots of different organizations can use. We also, on top of this layer of ongoing sort of educational materials, use a highly curated and direct model of speaking to organizations to discover what their strategic needs are. This is primarily done by our staff at Next Mile, but also comes from the community at large, where a single organization might reach out to the group as a whole and say, what are the technical solutions you've used to address a particular organizational problem, etc. And then on top of all of these layers, there is a fundamental sense of belonging and home and community. And even as we try to apply rigorous private sector practices to nonprofit action and try to quantify and develop metrics to measure, it's important for us to acknowledge just how much it matters to have a place where you can go and be surrounded by people who are similarly committed to a better world. It inspires us and energizes us and makes us want to be better at our work. And every day we try to create more and more of that here at the Next Mile Project. So this is the space into which we're inviting you to come and join us. As an intern at Next Mile, your role will vary significantly, but generally we'll always balance between supporting our member organizations and sharing and inspiring others with the quality of their work, as well as with helping them build organizations that are more sustainable and resilient going forward. A part of that conversation is how we, as the Next Mile Project, work with these organizations and how we manage our branding and logos in order to ensure a consistent and sustainable product. Attached to this video, you will likely find a toolkit of our visual print materials, things like logos and our color palette, as well as intros and outros that we use for videos and other things that we produce. But let me just quickly address the general framework in which we work with our member organizations. We are here to be a philanthropically funded service for them. And so as we build an internal consulting bureau that works with organizations, we seek only to ensure that the consistency and quality of our product is high, and that additional organizations that view this content might be able to come back and come to the Next Mile Project for more work. So typically we will ask for some sort of crediting, both for you as an individual so that you can add it to your portfolio, as well as to the Next Mile Project organization. We will try to consistently use our brand image and seek to find a tone that fits with exactly what I've shared in this video of being supporters and energetic and enthusiastic evangelists for the organizations that work with us, but also ones that bring a level of professionalism and support to the work that we do. By the time this video is viewed, our website will likely be changed, but what we always want to keep an eye out to is the production and distribution of all the materials we create, not simply to the organization we work with, but to the broader nonprofit community as a large, both here in Boston and around the world. And so as you seek to do work for these organizations, we'll also seek to have you think about the challenges that you face going through that work and what lessons you can learn that might be transferable to other organizations. And we'll ask you to do project guides around these projects as well. With all this in mind, I hope you'll take some time to look at the materials that are attached to this video, but also share with me the enthusiasm and the energy which has brought you to Next Mile. Our work is incredibly meaningful in that while we support the office environment for nonprofits, we have to remember that the work they're doing spans, at the time of this taping, 20 countries and has affected about 500,000 people. And every piece of work that you do advances that work and those missions in meaningful ways. Thank you for joining us at the Next Mile Project, and we're all looking forward to working with you.